Okay, so we are recording. Lovely.
Yay! Yay!
All right.
So exciting.
So exciting. I just want to make sure, yeah, we're recording. All right. So as promised, as I mentioned on
Yay.
my profile, we were going to be getting together, and I'm just excited to be here with my absolute great best friend. Love
Yes.
friends for what, 20 years now?
The law. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Amazing, amazing. And so for the sake of time and just really being able to stick to what we're trying to accomplish here is what a beautiful time for us to be living in. Absolutely
Mm, mm,
historic.
mm, mm. Yes. Yes.
Amazing, right? And together we're looking for ways to share our
Yes.
gifts and our talents and talk about how do we thrive
Mm,
personally in our businesses with our families during this
yes.
incredible time. As challenging as it is, I think we can
Mm.
find the gift in it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so the reason, for me to have you here, Lovely, is because you are just incredibly creative
Mm,
and so talented when it comes to children and
mm,
tapping into their imagination, their artistry, because that is your greatest gift. And
mm,
so, I couldn't do it. What you do
mhm,
is just
mm.
magical. So,
Yeah.
I'm inspired that you now have your own studio, your own art
Yes.
studio. You have events there all the time. Now that's changed,
Yes. Yeah.
but it will go back, right? It will
Oh,
go
yep.
back. And so a few things that I would love for you to share with us is just, let's start with like your story. You've got how
Yeah.
many kids now? I can't.
Yeah, 400. Can't keep count, right? 400.
Okay, right. So let's start with that. Okay. How are
So
you
it's,
creating
yeah,
structure and routine for you and your babies right now?
gosh. So it's interesting, you mentioned about our history. And when we met over 20 years ago, I was dating, not even married, not engaged. So to know me now, all these years later, as a mother of four, and I have a 12-year-old boy, a 9-year-old girl, a 6-year-old boy, and a 1-year-old girl. And
Amazing.
I'll be celebrating my 43rd birthday on Monday. And in incredible times, as you said. I mean, I could not imagine being in this place and space. Here's one of my kids now. Yay! All right, Mama's going to record. So I can't imagine being in this space and time right now.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful because where my story began is I'll just start, about 9 years ago, I decided to leave the like the 9 to 5 routine of life and stay home with my girl who's 9 now, but she was 10 months then. And my 12-year-old was going on 4, I believe, like 3.5, 4 years old. I decided to leave that 9 to 5 routine and start a home-based preschool.
Yep.
And when I did that, I wanted to keep that preschool structure, but I ended up having a very heavy emphasis on art and nature. So nature-based art and projects. And really that's what I built my kind of curriculum around. That's why I built my, how I interacted with my own children
Yep.
because they weren't in the daycare setting anymore. So how could I create this at home? And then fast forward just a little bit, I ended up having another baby within that time span, which was the one you just saw, who's now 6,
Yep.
and also taking care of other people's children. And so one thing that I'm super passionate about is creating amazing spaces and experiences for children.
Yep.
Um, so I love doing that, and I also love business. I mean, I love entrepreneurship, and that gave.
Oh, lost you. So this is what happens with our internet technology. And so I sing. Oh, lovely. I lost you there, my friend. Let's see how quickly you come back.
And are you? Yep, you're
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, now
I'm living in
you're back.
a
That's good.
good. So
Yeah.
now I did that for about 5 years, and then my husband got a new position. We moved us from Philadelphia area to New Jersey, northern New Jersey. And that gave me an opportunity to pause the daycare. My kids were on their way to school, with the exception of my 2-year-old at that point. And we came to this new place. The 2 older kids started school. I was a real stay-at-home mom at that point. I did not work at all.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, what could I do? How could I contribute not only to my family,
Yeah.
but to my community and work with kids? And one thing that I found is that there were story times and there were things for very small snippets of time, but there wasn't a lot to do once with that 2 to 3 year old range.
Yeah.
And I started thinking creatively again. And I started to create mommy and me activities for moms and their kids. And again, just applying what I learned with my daycare and
Yeah.
bringing that and then evolving that into an art studio. And there's a lot of steps in between there, but I think the main lesson is, for me and probably for other women, we all want to figure out how can we use our gifts? How can we be the most present we can with our children?
Yeah.
And how can we still contribute?
Absolutely.
And so that's how I've been able to do that.
That's just amazing. So now with this new, now we're all home.
Yes.
How are you kind of rolling that into now your daily routine with your kids? You don't have the studio open at this point. What are you doing at home to create structure for the kids and routines and still be your creative self, right? Like still be who you are in all of it?
Yes.
What does it look like for you just in this last week?
I know. It seems like we've been in this forever, but we're really only in week 2.
Yeah. So again, I think what we're talking about is how do we do this? Whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, we really don't know, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So I think some moms
exactly.
and stay-home parents are figuring out, well, how do I still be true to myself, but yet engage with the kids at that age level, which you're like in a pocket.
Yes, I have every age almost represented. I mean, that under 12 age range, and but still dealing with that creeping into that preteen and what that means too for the kids, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're early stages in this new season. So to be honest, I am still like getting what I would call just my equilibrium, right? Finding my balance, finding out what things are going to work for me as a creative, and figuring out how to support my kids at each stage. They all need something a little bit different from me, and how can I be the woman that I need to be to give that? And not to mention, I'm married.
Yes. We'll talk about that at another time.
Right? Yes.
Right now,
but
our little critters.
Yeah. Focus on that's forward focus. But I will say that I'm happy. I feel like I'm getting my footing, and there are things that have worked.
Okay.
And that are working it. And I'm going to continue to tweak those. So one is for sure creating a routine. So for the oldest, he's very independent. My 9-year-old, she needs a little bit of assistance, so I navigate when I can best help her. But also my 6-year-old is the one that I really need to be side by side with. And so, excuse me 1 second. I've got to be a mama for a minute. Okay. So one thing that I've learned is that to figure out when I'm going to be at my best. And I learned this note really yesterday, where I said for myself, I'm the most creative early in the morning. So that as an entrepreneur, as an artist, that's when I really need to be writing down those creative thoughts and ideas, and maybe doing a little bit of project, but then setting a time for when I need to kind of shut that off and begin the day. Because what I realized was happening last week is I was still having the ideas, and I still needed to, do breakfast and be with the kids, but I would get anxious all day because I wanted to get back to those ideas. And then I felt like I was missing out with the business. I needed to be creating content and all these things. And so I was very much divided, and I wasn't present at all. So what I learned this week going into it is, if I'm at my best in the morning, then that's when I need to create the ideas. And then tomorrow, or later in the day, maybe deliver a little bit on those ideas, but don't worry about being creative because that's not when I'm the most creative. So
Right.
save that energy and and it turns out to be a victory and a win where I
Mhm.
don't feel like I am um, not being true to myself, or um, I have less anxiety now. And this is really in a short period of time that I was able to
Yeah.
make that shift. And so anyway, so that's what I've been doing for me. So with that being said, when 9 o'clock hits, I'm okay to make breakfast and to talk to the kids and be present and be engaged. And
Exactly.
then from there, we can transition to work. Everyone kind of knows where they're doing. The other thing that I learned, just as I don't know how other schools have structured this, but for the younger kids, my 6-year-old, what I realized is they're giving work that you could do over a course of 2 days. Originally, when we first started, I thought it all had to be done in one day. So
Yeah.
what I've done now, which has been helpful for me and for him, that's why he can be out here and play,
Mhm.
is Monday when we start, we'll do the bulk of everything that's due for Wednesday.
Nice.
Tuesday, we might have a little bit to do, but we're not stressed out all day and carrying it out into the evening because
Yeah.
we did the bulk of it on that Monday. And then, but now that today's Friday and we had new assignments on Wednesday, we're pretty much done. We have like 2 little things to do. And he has the whole full day free, which frees me up,
Yeah.
right? Because I spend the most of my time with him and the baby
Yeah.
to create things for the business and create things for families and projects and that type of thing. So
Yeah.
figuring out what will help you get your equilibrium and your rhythm. And that's what I've only been able to do in 24 hours. And it's been life changing.
Yeah.
Or
That's
48 hours.
fantastic. Yes. And I think that that's really important. I mean, I see it even for myself here in the house where we've all really made it a point to create a space for ourselves where each
Yeah.
person has their kind of sacred space in the house and feeling that sense of accomplishing
Yes.
every
Yes.
single day, right? And so that's so important. And especially for small children, they
Yeah.
need that structure, right? They need
Yeah.
that structure. And but the beauty is there's also some more flexibility that allows
Yes.
them to be a little more self-expressive and
For
that
sure.
kind of thing. So that's really, really great, lovely. That's awesome.
Teresa, may
Yeah.
I share one more thing that
Yeah,
I
please.
just recently implemented as well? And this is, I believe, will be helpful for parents who have smaller kids, like babies.
Hmm.
Is my daughter, excuse me, as I transition to a different spot, but my 1-year-old, we were used to a certain routine because though my husband has worked like 90% from home already, so that was not a huge shift for him and, you know, for the flow of the house,
Hmm.
which is great. However, I was used to getting out of the house. So now I'm more home with the family. But with the baby, she would take naps in transition because I'd be running errands or I might be at the studio. She was like, so I didn't really have a real home routine for her. And so within this past week, I've been able to create a nap time schedule and create some structure for her, which has also freed up my time. And in the beginning of the week, I felt like I never got a break because she was either on my hip or, just
Yeah.
kind of all that newness. But um, like you said, giving everyone their space or giving everyone a sense of routine wherever they are uh, is so important. And that has, again, as the wife and the mother and the entrepreneur,
Yeah.
is giving me that free that white space.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Absolutely. So I really love how you hit some of the
Excuse me.
things that I think that are really important is the importance of self-care, that you take that time in the morning, that you set aside, you set aside that time for just for you to be creative in your own personal,
Hmm.
you lovely. And I think that that's important too. I love to do that, my morning time to
Yep.
read, to journal, to prepare for the things that I'm creating, right? And
Yeah.
then being able to be very present next with the family, engaging them, getting them set up in what it is that
Yep.
to be accomplished that day, having those conversations with our family members, me checking in with Steve, what do you need? What are you accomplishing today?
Yes.
For me, I don't have a small child, but I have my mother who's almost a
Yes.
fifth, right? So
Yes.
setting her up in her little space, one thing that I did was I bought a TV for her room so
Yeah.
that she had what she enjoys, right? And so
Yeah.
That's really, really great, lovely. So share
Thank
with
you.
us now, like, what's like a really fun thing, creative thing that you're doing with your babies? Can you show us
Yeah.
something that you've done? Maybe you've already done
Yes.
it. You don't have to do the whole thing, but share with
Okay.
us.
I do. I have one thing. Well, I have a couple things, but I'll show one that I was able to do with my kids, as well as kind of share with other moms. So if anyone follows me in the future, it's there on my Facebook page,
Yep.
and I'm
Yep.
going to
Oh,
show
stop
you
right
how.
there.
Oh yeah.
What's your website? Say it real quickly.
Okay. So my website is lovelyartstudios with an s.com. So LOVLEEARTSTUDIOS. So studios.com. And
Okay.
then my Facebook is the same.
Okay.
So
Great.
can you see this sweet little thing?
Yes.
Yay! So this is salt dough, and it's the easiest thing to make. And can you still see it?
Yeah. Yeah. Not
Okay.
anymore.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah.
the easiest thing to make. So I thought I was just going to do like a quick video. I don't even know if I could do it, but I'll show you the ingredients
Yeah.
if you're open to that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
look, all right. So for parents at home, usually we almost always have some salt
Mhm.
and some flour and some water. And that's literally all you need, and an oven. If you choose, you can paint it. But I made this one. I made my older kids, we made like ornaments. But for the baby, I just had a clump of this dough and smushed her hand in it. And so now I have this cute keepsake of the baby. So I'll just tell you the quick ingredients because I
And
grabbed it together.
I'll also write it out in the post
Yeah,
so people have the ingredients. But go ahead. Yeah.
perfect. I love it. Okay, so it's so simple, right? Look, so look.
Yeah.
Half cup of salt. Half cup
Nice.
of salt. Can you see my ball?
Yep.
Throw it in the
Oh,
bowl. All
perfect.
right. It has some little paper in it. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Cup of flour. You
Nice.
see?
I love this.
Throw that in the bowl. There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
All right. And then the last thing is really, I just threw some water in here, is a half a cup of water. And the beautiful thing with this project, whether it comes out the way you want it to or not, is it's just great sensory for kids, even of all ages, whoever wants to do it. And you can use a spoon, or they can use their hands, which again is sensory. And then once you kind of mix it all together, I'll show you once they mix it, it just turns into a nice dough. And then you can put food coloring in it
Yeah.
ahead of time, and then you don't have to worry about painting it, and you can just have them roll it out. The key is once it's all mixed and once you kind of set your design, is to bake it at like 250 for 30 minutes so it can dry out.
That's
So you can see, even for me, this is good sensory.
yeah.
Can you see it?
It's really
So really,
relaxing. Yeah.
yeah, it is. It feels good. It feels good. And it's not too much. If you add too much water, just add more flour. But really, this is a super simple way to build connection. And I
Mhm.
think in my studio, I did a lot of business with private events, the Paint and Sip private
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
And what I found is that kind of like is a craze, or was a craze, or whatever. And but the most important thing, what I realized, is that the painting was just an excuse for people to get together. People
Yeah.
just want to get together, right?
Yeah.
So it's really whatever experience you can create that will bring someone you want to connect with together. I love coffee, and that's what I've used for years as a reason to get together.
Yeah.
Um, but this is excuse me, I got a runny nose, a simple craft that you can
Yeah.
do at home with your kids. So
Yeah.
yay,
I love that. That is so
so fun,
great.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you can just have fun with it on your own. But I hope that's helpful.
I love that. Yeah. See, that's awesome. All right. Lovely. Thank you so much. This is so
My
great.
pleasure.
So good to catch up. And, I think that for all the moms and just stay home parents out there, please follow Lovely,
Yes.
right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes. Please.
things that she's doing. I know once everything kind of studios open up again, I know
Mm,
we're far apart from each other, but still,
yeah,
I follow you, love everything that you're doing for your community and for your kids. So we're going to talk again.
I love it. Thank you
Right?
so much.
Yes, I love you. Have an
Love
amazing
you too.
day, and we'll talk again
Thank
soon.
you. I love you. See you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.